started with sharing the message. So thank you everyone for coming on. This is, I believe, week 11 of our Growth Network community. And this was started specifically for me. My name is Courtney Anderson. I'm a consultant with Arbonne, and for all of my clients that I've worked with on the 30 Days to Healthy Living, which has been a vehicle for me to spread compassion for our own bodies. And the more you have been following me, to spread compassion for all of the microbes in our bodies, and then compassion for each other, all beings, including animals and the earth. So this wonderful brand of Arbonne shares the same mission as I do. And last week, the request to review non-dairy alternatives that are healthy was asked, and then also proteins from the plant-derived food sources. So I'm going to be reviewing. Many of you might actually recognize a couple of these little nerdy newsletters that I've put together. So I'm going to use the dairy one that I've written to talk a little bit more about why we would use a dairy alternative versus using a dairy substance. So I'm just gonna read along. So for this specific newsletter, all about Dish on Dairy. So if you're a cheese lover, like I was, because I was, I really, really, really was, you'll know how hard it is having to give up its delicious flavor for your health or moral reasons. So why exactly is it so bad for my health? Is what I hear from a lot of people, and what I also ask with sarcasm and eye rolls. So milk from conventionally raised cows is full of hormones and chemicals and inflammatory triggers, creating gut issues, allergies, eczema, acne, obesity, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Why are all of those hormones and other shenanigans added to the dairy? Because it's highly processed to change from what naturally would feed a baby cow is now having to feed humans. So it has to go through a process. And dairy affects how we process our emotions and our thoughts. So it literally is connected to our mood, and we'll learn why as we keep reading. So American cheese, this is a fun fact, can't actually be called cheese legally because it is less than 50% cheese. It has to be called American slices. That's how processed it is. Countries with the lowest consumption have the lowest rates of osteoporosis and fractures, while those with the highest dairy consumption and calcium intake have the highest rates of fractures. So the dairy industry was able to release the information that dairy is good for bones and osteoporosis because they paid for the studies to be swayed and shown scientifically to prove that. So it has since been debunked, and that those scientific studies are not proven. They're not evidence-based. They were paid for. So I thought this was an interesting image right here. So estrogen increases the risk of prostate, breast, uterine, and ovarian cancers. Cortisol is linked to stored belly fat and lowered muscle mass. Estrogen and cortisol are running rampant in Americans, and has everything to do with the foods that we're eating that carry estrogen, which is pumped into all of these animals that people are choosing to eat, and dairy products. And then cortisol is made within, and we need it, but the rates that we have cortisol are affected by how much estrogen we're taking in, and also our own stress. And so those two hormones are at an all-time high for us standard Americans. And then in this image, it talks about while the dairy industry focuses on marketing for cows' milk without added hormones, they fail to mention the plethora of natural hormones in milk, including estrogen and cortisol. Okay. Why does it have to taste so good? Why? Dairy literally breaks down and attaches to the same receptors as heroin and morphine, affecting our emotions and our thoughts. It's like a drug. It's got boatloads of fat, which also packs on the pounds, but fat tastes good. Other fats that a lot of people like, avocados, coconuts, almonds, olives, all taste really yummy too. And these were a couple little images that I thought were pretty interesting, but I work to support my mac and cheese addiction. And this is a really interesting book, The Cheese Trap. Has a lot of science put into it. So for all my earth lovers out there, dairy sucks for the environment. Did you know that there are roughly 250 million dairy cows in the world? And that number is growing daily. Now here's the part where it gets kind of crazy. Every day, each one of those cows eats 100 pounds of food. 100 pounds of food. For every 1 gallon of milk produced, it consumes 144 gallons of water. Animals used for food account for 77% of global farming land. While animals used for food takes up most of the world's agricultural land, it only produces 18% of the world's calories and 37% of total protein. So we're poorly utilizing our land, and it's to feed these animals that are feeding humans. And for all my animal lovers, I went vegetarian after learning about the animals in the food industry. I thought eating cheese and ice cream was still fine, and I was very addicted to both of those. But by many factors, the dairy industry is actually much more violent than the meat industry. A dairy cow lives about 20 years at a sanctuary. A dairy cow enslaved in the food industry lives about 5 years due to their bodies being worn out from being forcibly impregnated, birthed, and milked for their whole life. A dairy farmer uses their fists to prepare the cow's anus and rectum to move the cow's cervix into the right area. Once sufficiently loosened up, she's locked into a steel gurney, and a large turkey baster-like device is used to impregnate her with the semen that was obtained from a bull cow by a farmer. And when she eventually gives birth, her calf is immediately taken away from her, and her new mother cow is hooked up to being milked. Cows make a wailing moo sound for days after this as they mourn the separation from their baby. If the calf is a female, she'll be kept on the dairy farm in a separate location until old enough to be inseminated herself at about 1 year old. Once she's given birth, the cow starts getting milked on a daily basis. She's given extra hormones to keep producing milk longer than she naturally would for her baby. Eventually, the milk dries up and she is artificially impregnated again to start the cycle over. If it's labeled hormone-free, a cow's milk is naturally packed with hormones and proteins specifically to grow their calf into a 600-pound cow. When I first learned about all this, I was really shocked, as some of you might be. I'm not a mom, but I can damn well imagine And unfortunately, now I've seen it happen where mom and baby are separated. And I've seen mama cow run after the trailer that's taking away her baby. If the calf is a male, and they will be sold off for veal, leather, or raised for beef and killed. As one can imagine, as I'm sure you are you capable of putting yourself in the place of this mom for just a moment? What a life for a meal that's mostly overeaten, makes us feel uncomfortable, and often we shame ourselves for eating as much as we did. Now a kind of gross fact. Would you like some pus with your cheese? Every mouthful of cheese you eat legally contains a certain amount of pus from cows' udders. Let me explain. You see, 90%, 99% of dairy cows are kept pregnant for much more of their lives than they would be naturally. This is so they can be milked much more than they would be in the wild. Large machines are used to get as much milk out of them as possible. These machines cause enormous pressure and stress on the cow and their udders, meaning up to 1 in 6 cows of the 250 million cows suffer from something called mastitis, which happens in humans too, an infection in the udder due to overmilking. This is such a common occurrence in America that the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, legally allows an acceptable limit of somatic cells, aka pus, the same stuff you squeeze out of a zit, in all dairy products. According to the USDA themselves, they are up to 1 million pus cells in just a tablespoon of the milk that is used to make cheese. And now you know the rest of the story. So I just like to clarify, vegan means compassion. We've all got empathy in our hearts. Consider being an ally to the vegan compassion movement and consider supporting compassion for your health, these animals, their families, and the earth. So I've personally tested many dairy-free alternatives, and I have brought up websites for a lot of the brands that I've looked into, and I'm going to share their ingredient labels and then also show you how you can actually locate where to purchase these products. So Marta was wanting to know about a sour cream alternative specifically. So this brand, Kite Hill, is a very clean brand. So I pulled up the ingredients. Very clean. Almond milk, which is made of water and almonds, coconut oil, rice starch, which is basically a sugar and rice, coconut milk, maltodextrin, which is another starch, natural starch, chickpea protein, salt, and cultures. So a lot of the dairy product, the dairy alternative products have also had added cultures, just like a lot of the fortified dairy products too. So as far as getting the cultures and prebiotics and probiotics, it's done very similarly as the dairy industry as well. So that's a really great brand. And so it's called, again, Kite Hill. And then they've got a lot of other options. Oops. Okay, so they've got yogurts, cream cheese, ricotta. They have these filled pastas. What do you call those? Little raviolis. They've got dips. They've got like those squeezed yogurt tubes that lots of kids like, sour cream, a coconut milk yogurt, and then the butter alternative. So it's a really clean, wonderful brand and non-GMO. Here's another, this is probably my favorite brand that I've tried of all the non-dairy alternatives, Miyoko's. Just a wonderful brand message, also working for the same thing as I do, compassion for all. They've got a lot of different products too. So vegan butter. And a lot of these brands have recipe tabs, which is really fun. You can explore that. But this specific brand also has a cultured vegan farmhouse cheddar and pepper jack slices, vegan mozzarella, organic cashew milk, artisan cheese wheels. These are amazing. Like they remind me of when I was a kid, we used to get those Merck's pub cheese containers, and this brand reminds me of that as far as these cheese wheels. But they also do have a pub cheese. They have a cream cheese. Yeah, here's their pub cheese. I feel like I'm like stalling or freezing. Are you noticing that I'm freezing at all, anybody?
No.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Here's another great brand. They have a queso that is really clean. So I want to bring up, so the brand is called Good Foods. And then here's their nutrition facts. So the ingredients are cauliflower, red bell peppers, almonds, water, almond butter, apple cider vinegar, red onions, lemon juice, garlic, sea salt, nutritional yeast, chia protein, ground cumin, ground turmeric, and cayenne pepper. So clean and so good. We get our Good Foods queso, a really big container from Costco, but I know Target carries it, and then I know Mariano's, I'm pretty sure. But everyone, so all of these brands have a store locator. So you can just click on the store locator, plug in your zip code. I have a feeling that it's not going to work because I have so many screens open right now. But you can see right here. So Walmart also carries it, Target. So yeah, for anybody that wants me to look up any brand while I'm talking, I'll quickly plug in your zip code and we can check it out. But you're welcome to also check it out yourself. Moving on to the next brand that I love so much as well. So delicious. So this brand has so many different products. They've got non-dairy milk, they've got non-dairy creamers, which we love, frozen dessert, which is basically ice cream, but they don't call it ice cream because ice cream is known to have dairy, so they call it frozen dessert, cheese alternatives, yogurt alternatives, and this brand is a B Corporation. So a lot of you have heard me talk about B Corporations, as Arbonne is a B Corp certified company. So just to clarify, B Corp certifications, there's about 3,500 different brands in the world that have this very difficult certification that have proven that their process and their profit is balanced by how they treat the people in the company and in the planet. I feel like I'm getting, okay. I just got a message from Joe. Thank you, babe. Okay. So that is one of my favorite brands. And then Forager is another new brand, or well, not new, but they are a newer brand to me for their dairy alternatives. But they have these wasabi chips that are just amazing. Jewel carries this brand. I'm not really sure. Woodman's, I don't know if anyone shops at Woodman's. I know Woodman's isn't everywhere, but they have a pretty good sour cream. I would say the Kite Hill one is a little bit better, Marta. But they have a lot of food options as well. Dairy-free yogurt, their vegan cheeses. sour cream, butter. They've got milk as well, shakes, cereals, and then, I can't read everything on my screen. Oh, vegetable chips. Yeah, we just got the Super Greens chips. They were pretty good. But they're wasabi chips, which I don't see on here. I hope they still have them. They're so good. Okay, moving on to the next brand. So this is a soy-based non-dairy protein, or excuse me, non-dairy milk, well, and protein. So a lot of people worry about soy, and I've done a lot of research to figure out that worry myself, because I also want to be safe in consuming and do good things for my health. So when it comes to soy, soy is a very, very highly treated crop with pesticides, glyphosate, which is a weed killer that really does kill a ton of the bacteria in the soil and on the crop. But the crop itself, so the soy plant, the soybean plant, has been genetically modified, which I never knew really what this meant when I started seeing GMO this and non-GMO that. So the plant itself, its genes are changed so that it's not reactive to the weed killer. So it's genetically modified to withstand being sprayed by this weed killer, so it doesn't kill the crop, which is just crazy. So then all of the chemicals used in that weed killer are in the soil, in the plant, and then we're consuming it, and it's changing our DNA and creating inflammation in our bodies and killing our microbes. So just like I've created a post on Instagram, I don't know if everyone's following me, but the microbiome of the soil feeds the microbiome in our bodies. So if we are eating these GMO plants and pesticides and weed killers, that is what's changing inside of our bodies and creating inflammation. So soy, as long as it's GMO, well, I would say organic, because organic is the cleanest, as I talked about last week or a couple of weeks ago. Organic means never GMO and never sprayed with glyphosate. So organic is the cleanest option. Non-GMO is second best. So for this brand, sorry, I didn't even bring it up so you can see what brand it is. It's called Field Roast. And they have a lot of different food products, but they're slices of cheese that I really like. They're called chow slices. So this flavor, they've got tomato cayenne. It's delicious. And they've got a few other flavors as well, but I wanted to show you that the ingredients are filtered water, coconut oil, modified corn and potato starch, tomato juice, potato starch, fermented tofu made of soybeans, water, salt, sesame oil, and calcium sulfate, sea salt, green and red dried bell peppers, cayenne pepper, natural flavor, olive oil, paprika extract, and beta carotene color. So I also want to share that what I've learned when it comes to additives, something like natural flavor, that could be inflammatory. There's always the option, natural flavor is added into a lot of processed foods. So as a consumer, it's your responsibility to understand that if you were to take cheese slices made from cow's milk, or say like these chow slices made with soy and these other ingredients, what would be healthier? It's your choice. It's up to you. Like it's what you want to believe and what you want to put your money into and what you want to put into your body. So for me, because I eat so clean, this is a treat to me. So as far as like something like these chow slices, Maybe they're not super clean. Maybe the natural flavor is going to be inflammatory to me. Maybe, what else on here might be inflammatory to me? Maybe even the modified corn potato starch. Like starch is sugar, so that might be inflammatory to me. But it's my choice. I would rather eat this than a cheese slice. So that's what it comes down to. This is a non-GMO product. So it is possible that there are still some chemicals from the processing of farming. But for me, that is how I differentiate the quality and the safety and the health of these products. Okay, I think I have one more brand. This is also another B Corp certified brand. It's called, the parent brand is called Tofurky, which is a tofu base as well. But they've created these dairy free shreds. And so the ingredients here are water, expeller pressed coconut oil, modified potato starch, sunflower oil, tapioca starch, and then it contains less than 2% of faba bean protein, bamboo fiber, dextrose, nutritional yeast, natural flavors, sea salt, paprika, fermented corn sugar, citric acid, lactic acid culture, xanthan gum, sodium citrate, disodium phosphate, tricalcium phosphate, and natamycin. So yeah, some acidic additions to preserve. So is it the cleanest? No. Does it taste really yummy? Yes, this one tastes really yummy. So as far as, again, this is something that we purchase and eat as a treat on occasion. It's definitely not a staple in our fridge. A couple ingredients that are pretty common in added processed foods, maltodextrin is a white starchy powder that manufacturers add into many foods to improve their flavor, their thickness, and their shelf life. So it is an additive and a preservative. Again, looking for the non-GMO or organic version of maltodextrin is recommended. And then same thing with like pectin. That's in a lot of different types of processed foods, which is a soluble gelatinous polysaccharide sugar that is present in ripe fruits and is extracted for the use as setting agents in jams and jellies and vegan cheeses. So I wanted to show just those couple of, there's a lot of other additives that are called emollients, and carrageenan is a popular one. So let's look up what that is. Carrageenan is an additive used to thicken, emulsify, and preserve foods and drinks. It's a natural ingredient that comes from red seaweed, also called Irish moss. You'll often find this ingredients in nut milks, meat products, and yogurt. So carrageenan is found in a lot of later studies to have inflammation on the gut microbiome. So when we look at labels, we do try to avoid carrageenan. Again, since we eat very clean and healthy for like 80 to 90% of our choices in foods, if something does have carrageenan and we get it on occasion, I try to not be obsessive about it, because I was for a while. I was obsessive about just eating clean, and now it's just like I've learned that stressing and shaming and blaming actually creates a lot more inflammation in the gut than probably this less than 2% of carrageenan. So if you're concerned about an ingredient or you're questioning something, please, I'm your resource. I would love to help you work through whatever issue you have. But I want to open it up to everyone who has questions about the non-dairy alternatives, if anyone.
I've been having fun just trying them all out.
Good, Jerry. Have you found a favorite?
Well, I've been shopping at Walmart. I got to make it over to Woodman's one of these days. Walmart and Jewel, and I'm having fun just going down their dairy-free aisle and just trying things. That chow cheese is to die for.
Yes, so good.
I don't have any favorites. I have some that I didn't like. Some of the cream cheese. I think I ordered it online and I can't remember who it was from.
So there's a couple brands that I'm not a fan of as well for the shreds. Daiya has a few different formulations. Yeah, it's not, it tastes like plastic. And it's not clean. So, and then Tofutti, Tofutti, they have a cream cheese and some yogurts. I did not, also not yummy at all. So I'm sharing brands that, and there's multiple, so definitely look into these brands. And if you find an alternative that you're wondering, just quickly take a screenshot or take a picture of it if you're in the store and send it to me. I will give you my feedback as soon as I can.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. If no one else has any other questions, I'm going to move forward to the plant protein. I know we only have about 18 minutes left. So here we go. So as far as plant protein, again, going to share my nerdy newsletter to have an idea of why protein is so important. So protein is one of 3 macronutrients. A lot of people may have heard it called macros for short. The other 2 macronutrients are carbohydrates and fats. So basically everything we eat is broken down into these 3 macronutrients. As the name suggests, macronutrients are nutritional compounds that our bodies need in significant quantities for survival, growth, and reproduction. So basically everything. Micronutrients are the subset that includes various vitamins and minerals and fiber that we consume. And fiber we've talked a lot about. So protein is the most important macronutrient to get right for 2 reasons. It helps you eat less without feeling so hungry. Research consistently shows that protein helps you feel full longer, and as a result, you'll maintain or lose weight, partly because it takes longer for the body to break down protein than carbs or fat. So your body is actually burning more calories inside to break down the protein. So that's why protein is such a good nutrient to take in, because your body burns to break it down and metabolize it. Protein also stimulates the release of feel full hormones in the gut, especially when eaten in combination with fat and carbohydrates. So when you eat protein, you naturally tend to eat less, and it makes a big difference. If you double your protein intake, it could help you suddenly eat 400 calories less per day. And that's roughly the number of calories in only 1.5 cups of ice cream. Protein makes it much easier to build and maintain muscle. And ladies, this does not mean you'll look like a dude if you consume more protein. This applies to lean muscle as well. Without enough protein, our bodies just can't function well. You may have heard the term amino acids before. This is what protein chains are made of. Your body needs 20 different amino acids to grow and function properly. 9 of those amino acids are essential, meaning they cannot be made by your body and must be maintained from your food, obtained from your food, your nutrition. We need amino acids to produce important molecules like enzymes and hormones, neurotransmitters, and antibodies. So when you don't eat enough protein, our bodies take it from elsewhere, like our muscles, resulting in muscle loss. This is especially true if we're eating fewer calories than we're burning. On the flip side, a high protein diet seems to maximize muscle protein building, which should lead to more muscle gain for people who are strength training and consuming enough calories. This is probably one of the reasons high protein diets are better for improving body composition and normal or low protein diets. Okay, so plant proteins. This is a quick list. I've got more coming. Plant proteins. So legumes, lentils, chickpeas, and black beans. Super high. Lentils are, I don't know if any of you have tried lentils. They have different ones, red, yellow, brown, green. They all have a different flavor. So if you've tried lentils and you weren't crazy about the flavor, try a few different ones. The red ones are delicious. Again, like I talked about with grains, cooking them in vegetable broth, or like if you have bouillon cubes, or Jewel, Walmart, and Costco, they sell this jar. It's called Better Than Bouillon, and it's like a concentrated like sauce almost. And you just like take a scoop of it. And I just made an awesome leek soup. I think all of you saw my picture today that I posted. Leek soup, so good, with cauliflowers and buckwheat, really good. All right, so then soy is another high protein packed plant food. So edamame is baby soybean. Tempeh is a fermented soy product, which is delicious. If it's spiced correctly, by itself, it tastes kind of bland. And then tofu. So I definitely, tempeh is our go-to when it comes to a soy product. And I want to encourage all of you, this is my growth work assignment, is to highly, highly, highly consider getting a block of tempeh. And then instead of like ground beef or ground turkey, using it for tacos. Just do all your normal taco seasoning, whether you make your own concoction or you rip it open from a package. It's so good. So I highly, highly recommend that as a growth work assignment. Tofurkey makes a really good brand, but there's lots of different brands. So again, organic is important. Then nuts and seeds, super high in protein. Hemp seeds specifically. So I get a huge bag of organic hemp seeds from Costco, and I put that on my salad, on my smoothie bowls, in my smoothies. In our bowls, our like Buddha bowls that we make, you can add hemp seeds or pumpkin seeds or chia seeds to anything. It's delicious. And such an easy, small form of high packed protein and good fat. Then we've got cooked grains that are high in protein, quinoa and oatmeal. And then all vegetables. So if you haven't caught on yet, all plant foods have protein in them. All of them. All of them. So it's easy. It's not hard to get protein in for someone that is plant-based or vegan if they're eating whole foods. So that's the important part. If you're eating processed foods, whoever you are, whatever kind of lifestyle you choose to live, you're lacking in protein, which isn't even the most important part because there's still some protein in there. Fiber, that's the other part that's very important that you're missing when you eat processed foods. So to save on time, I'm not really going to talk too much about protein powder supplements, but as you know, Arbonne's is made from plants. So it's made of brown rice, pea, and cranberry, all high in the protein level. This is an account that I follow on Instagram. I really liked his post. This guy, his name is Jacked on Plants. And he created this post that just lays it out perfectly. Protein is in everything. So here are the healthy protein power kings. Tempeh, like we talked about. Wheat germ, which I've never utilized, but I definitely want to. Seitan. So seitan is wheat gluten. So it's a lot of faux meats are made from seitan. And again, I would highly recommend organic and non-GMO. Soybeans, buckwheat, lentils, peas, and hemp seeds. Moving to the next are the veggies that are highly packed with protein. Again, they all have protein, but some more than others. Peas is the highest. Spinach, artichoke, broccoli, sprouts, potatoes, beets, sweet potato, and zucchini. Moving to the next slide, legumes. Again, tempeh, seitan, soybeans, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, and tofu. So beans, beans, beans. And to review, the people that, and I was there, who start increasing these types of foods, we don't have enough of the good gut bugs, the good microbes to metabolize and digest all of this. So you want to go slow. When you start adding all these plant foods into your nutrition, make sure that it's a little at a time, because you want the ratio to balance out. You need these foods to grow good gut bugs, but if you eat too much, you're going to get a lot of gas. A lot of gas, a lot of gurgling, a lot of bloating. So it takes time. Just go slow and consistent and a little at a time, and then start increasing your amount and increasing your different types, your variety. Okay, nuts and seeds. Hemp seeds are the highest, then pumpkin seeds, peanuts, almonds, pistachios, flax seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, and cashews. Okay. Next, healthy protein power grains. Wheat germ, gotta try that wheat germ. Buckwheat, barley, oats, whole wheat pasta, quinoa, wild rice, and brown rice. And that is it for the plant foods that are highest in protein. And then, I mean, there's lots of sources out there, but I just absolutely love this image, because if you think about it, all of these animals, they need protein too. Cows need protein, pigs need protein, lambs need protein. They're all getting it from plants. So as far as the worry is if we're getting enough protein, they're all eating plenty of plants and getting the protein, and then you're eating them. So the protein is being stored in their muscles the same way it is for us. So don't worry. You're not going to be deficient in protein if you're eating enough whole, real food. So this image is just delightful. And then there's lots of other articles supporting different types of plant proteins, along with sharing the different sources of calcium and vitamins. So if anybody would like any of these links to anything that I'm sharing, or if you want to have this recording to look back on, I can share that. But oh my gosh, look how delicious that looks. That is edamame, quinoa, some greens, peas. Yeah, just delicious. This is a common brand that I see a lot, Tolerant. It's a lentil pasta. Delicious. Ooh, look at those. Yum. Okay. And then this is my favorite gut guy, my gut doctor. So for gut health, he is plant-based. He went plant-based because of the science and learning just all the different types of plants have all the protein needed. So I feel like I've mentioned everything that I was hoping to. I'm sure I left something out, but does anybody have any questions about plant proteins or non-dairy alternatives?
This was fantastic, Courtney. Thank you.
What did you learn, Marta? What are you hoping to try?
Well, I'm taking a list of those brands and I can't wait to go shopping. So there will be no guesswork in the shopping area.
Great.
So that's really helpful.
Good, I'm glad. Anyone else?
I got my list too.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for your open minds to hearing alternatives out there, because I think it's being talked about more and more, and it makes me so happy because, again, my mission in life is not to turn everybody into a vegan. That's not my goal. My goal is to share the mission and the movement of veganism, which it literally is to have more compassion for ourselves, for all beings, and for the earth. And if you believe in that mission and that movement, then you're an ally. Even though you still choose to eat animals or dairy products or eggs. If there's a point where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go with this non-animal option, like, and even if you decide to always stick with eating animals and the byproducts, but you still support the mission and you speak of it with compassion and with support, that's all that I could dream of. Because I feel like in this world, the vegan movement is looked at as controlling and pushy, and and there are certain people, just as there's certain people like in the dental industry that I have witnessed where people are pushy or controlling in options, and it's like there are those types of people anywhere. But I'm trying very hard for the rest of my life to create the link that vegan really just means compassion for all. That's it. So thank you everyone for listening in. Thank you, Marta, for asking about these alternatives, and have a wonderful evening. I was thinking for next week, and it was a thought, if anyone is hoping for a different topic to be discussed, but is for environmental toxins and how they affect our health. So yes. Anything from like the air, water, and then products that we're using in our homes and on our bodies. So that was something that I thought would be kind of interesting to dive into.
Will you possibly talk about like water filtration systems?
Well, I will talk about it. I don't know. I will talk about it. I definitely, it's a huge industry. So maybe I'll try and find somebody that could actually come on and talk to us that's like a professional. So I will do some research on that.
Cool. I know that I've tried several different ones, and the water down here in Florida is so calcified and everybody keeps telling me to go with soft water, and I just can't fathom the idea of drinking salt. It doesn't sound right.
Okay, yeah, I will look into that for sure. Definitely. Yeah. And same here, Michelle, in this part of the county that I live in, the water is so calcium heavy. Lime, it's awful. So I did some digging. Joe and I did some digging to find filters, and I'm really happy with the one that I got, but it's not for the whole home. It's just for the one faucet. So I only drink from one faucet. But yes, I will do some digging.
Okay, and if you could share that name again with me, because I have forgotten that you and I had talked about this. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. The filter that I got?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anyone else? Any thoughts, questions, feedback?
Thank you again.
Yes, you're so welcome. Thanks for coming on tonight. It's great to see you all. Thank you again.
Looking forward to next week. Bye.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.